national panel. Ball night.
Ball night.
He's going to be so proud of us, you guys. The men's NCAA tournament arrives in a Sweet 16 loaded with heavyweight matchups. 10 national championships in the last 35 years between the 8 teams playing tonight. But will we get upsets or just more chalk? And it's opening day, and the Dodgers are the favorites again this year. Who can pose a real threat to them, or does LA have some red flags of its own? Let's go around the horn.
David Dennis baseball talk, my favorite thing.
Mine too.
Learn your little something, buddy. Learn your little something.
Sweet 16 action coming our way in a few hours. 2 1-4 matchups starting off. Florida, Maryland before Duke, Arizona. The Gators are 17-2 since the middle of January and have won 8 straight, including that 2-point thriller over UConn in the second round. Meanwhile, Duke won its first 2 games of the tourney by a combined 67 points. They've got a rematch with Arizona, a Wildcats team it beat by 14 in November. David Dennis Jr., starting with you here, which number 1 seed is a bigger lock to win tonight? Is it Florida or is it Duke?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Duke here. As you mentioned, starting off, 67 points in their first 2 games of margin of victory. No, they haven't played the toughest competition, but that's still pretty impressive. And then you look at how they're going to look against Arizona with Love. That first time they played, Duke has so much of that length and that defense. They held them to 1 for 9 from 3, only had 8 points. And then add in the fact that Cooper Flagg has not even really gotten started too much. Only, and I say only in quote, 16, 8, and 5 so far. He's still got to get hot and still got to get going. And Proctor is already on a heater. Duke, to me, just looks like too much of a formidable team.
And a team that really hasn't been tested, Marcel Louis-Jacques, throughout the first 2 games of the tournament. Do they get tested tonight?
I think Florida rolls against Maryland. Florida plays too good a defense. Walter Clayton just showed he can carry this team offensively to a win. And then when you look at Maryland, all 8 of their losses are by 6 or fewer points this season. You know, playing a team as defensively stout as Florida that's been used to winning big games as much as Florida has, I could see the Terps falling apart there at the end. Sorry to Scott Van Pelt and all the rest of Maryland Nation out there. I love Duke, but there is a world where Caleb Love goes supernova and pulls off the upset. I think Florida is more of a lock.
Okay, so we've got 1 for Duke, 1 for Florida so far. Clinton Yates, which 1 seed are you more confident in tonight?
To me, it's Duke, not just because of their history against this particular opponent, but I just think they're the best overall team of these 4 named here. But I do want to address the Maryland situation because I think it's really unfortunate that this Crab 5 group has got to deal with all of this off-court nonsense in terms of what's going on with their head coach and everything at the same time. There's a changeable rule to get rid of the portal while you're playing tournament basketball. It's an actual distraction. That being said, Walter Clayton was only 2 for 7 in the first half against that win against Connecticut. If they can hold him up or they can find a way to limit the possessions for that team, they've got a shot in that starting 5 that's probably one of the best in America. Don't count Maryland out. Chaotic situation, kids playing with something.
Okay, Clinton, are you comfortable calling the upset there that Maryland's going to pull off tonight?
I will, and Lord knows where Willard's going to be, but I know those players will be in the right place at the right time.
Of course, Kevin Willard, and the news, is he going to be leaving for the Villanova job? Is he staying at Maryland? He wouldn't address any of it yesterday, but we'll see if maybe he's addressing it tomorrow, if they win or if they lose to Florida. All right, Tim Kalishaw, round us out here. Number 1 seed you are more confident in tonight.
Courtney, I'm going to make it a nice, even split. I'm going to team with Marcel. Maybe he'll send me one of those shirts. As a result of that, I think Florida is the team. They've already had their test. You're not supposed to get tested till the 3rd round when you're 1 seed. Florida got it done a game early with UConn, which didn't really seem like a team that should come out of an 8-9 segment. But as Marcel mentioned, Caleb Love, he ended Coach K's career when he was at North Carolina. I think he could do similar damage tonight. He's not going to end John Shire's career. I do think he could end his season. And we don't know if Duke is special just because we haven't seen them play tough competition very much. Not even in the ACC, a real down year for that conference. So it's hard to say what that team's made of. Obviously, they've been blowing people away, but I think tonight they get tested more than Florida does.
Yeah, Tim, I agree with you on this Duke point. They might be the deepest team in the tournament, but they haven't been tested yet. Of course, they've got the presumptive Player of the Year favorite in Cooper Flagg, but they're deep beyond him. But we've been saying the same thing about Florida going into the big dance, and then they had that scare against UConn in the second round. We're going to see if tonight gives us any upsets or if it is just more chalk moving forward. All right, moving on. In non-one seed action, there's 2-6 Alabama, BYU. That matchup, and Arkansas, the lowest remaining seed in the field at 10, is taking on 3-seeded Texas Tech. Tim, coming back to you here, which of these teams is most intriguing?
For me, it's Brigham Young, and I don't know if this is dangerous or not, but I think they're a team that is very willing to run up and down the floor and play a game that goes into the 90s with Alabama. They shoot threes. They're an exciting team. They can rebound. They can do all the things I think they need to be able to do against Alabama, but they got to control Sears a little bit, and they got to hit those threes. Teams that haven't hit a high percentage from the perimeter are going to get crushed by Alabama, but I don't think that's going to be a problem for Brigham Young. I think that's a great high-scoring game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The highest-scoring team in college basketball, Marcel, is Alabama. We know BYU loves to get hot from three and shoot a lot of threes. Are you looking at this matchup, or are you more intrigued about who Arkansas is playing tonight?
I'm sticking with this matchup, but I'm taking the other team. I'm taking Bama. BYU can shoot the lights out of the gym. They've hit 10 3-pointers in 10 of their last 15 games to end the season. Like, that is hard to defend, especially come tournament time. But the one thing that Alabama does better than just about anybody in the country is they limit open jump shots. They force you to take those moving off the dribble shots, as we saw against St. Mary's there in the last round. So if BYU can't get those off, if Alabama can lock in on defense, then I think the Tide are going on to the next round. Grant Nelson is one of those guys you just hate to play against, man, when you line up across the court. Hustles, defends the paint, gets to the rim. Mark Sears averaging 17 and 7 so far this tournament. He hasn't had his three-point shot. 5 of his last 35 from behind the line. If he can find that stroke from behind the arc, Alabama's going to be tough to beat.
Okay, so we've got this game covered pretty handedly. David Dennis Jr., can you talk to me about Arkansas? This is not the normal 10 seed. They are a John Calipari coach team. They started out the season 0-5. They find themselves in the Sweet 16. You confident that they can continue to upset teams in the tournament tonight and pull it off against Texas Tech?
Yeah, I think they can. Not only am I intrigued by them, by what they've done so far, but they're pretty much the last Cinderella team we have left this season. Of course, you can debate if a team that's coached by John Calipari is an actual Cinderella team or not, but they have a stout defense. They muck it up. They have ugly basketball sometimes, but they're adding the arrows coming back. Their best player at 15 points per game. I think he's going to make a big difference, and I do see this Arkansas team moving forward.
All right, a Cinderella. Using that word with John Calipari, I'm with you, is a little weird, but they've got the size, Clinton Yates, to be able to defend on the perimeter against Texas Tech. Which game you looking more forward to tonight on the non-one seed side of things?
Couple quick things. They were 0-5 to start conference play, not this season. Second thing, Billy and Boogie are the best nickname combo we've got so far. And thirdly, I believe it was me on this program that told y'all that Arkansas would be in this position when asked about Cinderella teams. So yes, I will be continuing with John Calipari and the Razorbacks getting it done. They battled through injuries. They battled through all of this other stuff. This is the squad I care about at this point, and Calipari's Blazers are still looking tremendous, Shaw.
Anybody want a last word on this?
Yeah, I'll take a last word. I mean, yeah, this sounds like a great Southwest Conference matchup, by the way, Texas Tech and Arkansas. I think I saw that game about 40 years ago in Moody Coliseum or somewhere in a tournament. But nobody even here talked about Texas Tech, the 3 seed, and what Grant McCaslin has done, what JT Toppin has done. Arkansas has had a great run. It ends tonight against Texas Tech.
All right. Well, I think I know where Tim's going there, and since you are the only one to really talk about Texas Tech, you get the points. Yeah. All right, we're going to get some picks here, guys. BYU versus Bama, Arkansas versus Texas Tech. Clinton, starting here, who you got?
Alabama and Arkansas.
Tim?
I'm going to go with Alabama in a close one and Texas Tech.
All right. David Dennis Jr.
This Mississippi kid is picking his neighbors, Bama and Arkansas.
All right, Marcel, round us out.
I got the Tide and I got the Hogs, Courtney.
All right, there are picks Here is our break. Buy or sell, coming up next. Wild swing of events for LeBron James, from creating headlines on McAfee to leading the Lakers' fourth quarter surge against the Pacers.
I was watching this game in my tighty whities in disbelief at their end of the game execution here. You have offense, defense, and you have Halliburton off for defense with the timeout. Do not call a timeout to get him back on offense. The offense falls off a cliff. Lakers run back down and score at that tip in. But on the Lakers side here, you have an issue with the offense versus the defense. Offensively, LeBron and Luka were able to execute down the stretch with some clutch buckets no matter how much they struggled in the first three quarters. But defensively, the Pacers were seeking out Luka on those switches on one-on-one, and he was a turnstile. It was a layup line on him. The Lakers are going to have to figure out how to do this play in the playoffs to protect Luka defensively, which is a problem that has persisted throughout his entire career, and that's not changing no matter how well the Lakers did defensively for a few weeks earlier this year.
So even though the Lakers get the win, David Marcel is pointing out some of the defensive deficiencies that might hurt them later on. Is that part of your biggest takeaway from last night?
No, Courtney, my biggest takeaway was just the marvelousness of Tyrese Halliburton. He's got a 160 to 14 assist to turnover ratio since the All-Star break. That is absolutely absurd. Pacers went 18 of 20 just on assists from or passes from Halliburton last night. Like when he's running that, when they're running at full efficiency, that is just a beautiful offense to watch. But they got to be tired of watching LeBron sink game winners against them. It's the third buzzer beater he has hit against them in his career. The only other player to do so against a single team is Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
interesting
that's
company.
Very interesting company. Apparently company that doesn't talk, though, because remember what he said on the McAfee show. Won't talk to him until he's done playing. Clinton Yates, most interesting takeaway from Lakers Pacers.
The magic of Halliburton. He wasn't even on the floor at the end, and they lost the daggone game. What are you talking about? Anyway, what I'm saying is that with LeBron, the thing that really was wild is that you had all of these statistics that weren't adding up. He's been 0 for everything since he's been a Laker in the last couple seconds of fourth quarters and overtimes. And then when he finally gets the tip in to win the game, he ends up on second on the list overall of game winners next to Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And that is why I am most interested by the idea of, because of what he said on Pat's show, who's LeBron going to be when he stops actually playing NBA basketball? Is he just going to tell everybody for the rest of his life that he was the best? What's he going to be like as a steward and ambassador of the game? I am fascinated by this because he's earned every second to talk his talk, and I'm very intrigued by what this is going to look like when he finally hangs up.
All right, and Tim Cowlishaw, Lakers or Pacers, who intrigued you more last night?
Well, I want to ask my old radio pal, Rick Carlisle, where the Pacer defense went on that last play. It looked like 5 guys ran at Luka. He could have thrown a lob pass to LeBron and ended the game that way instead of just missing the shot. But I think it's a big win for LA to end that losing streak. They had a lot of adrenaline right after the Luka trade. They got all the way up to number 2. Now they're 4. That's probably a better, more reasonable landing spot for them, but they got to get some momentum going into the playoffs, and this was a start.
All right, moving on. Buy or sell to happy opening day. 28 of 30 Major League Baseball teams in action today. The already 2-0 Dodgers are going to raise their World Series banner before taking on the Tigers. And, of course, my guy, Tarek Skubal. They are plus 275 at ESPN Bet to win it all again, making them the biggest opening day favorite since the 0-2 Yankees. Clinton, this is a national holiday for you. Are you buying the Dodgers or are you buying the field?
Well, as the only panelist here that's definitely going to cover a Major League Baseball game today, I will speak on this with some authority. It's not just the Dodgers lineup in terms of who they got. Betts and Freeman are in the lineup today. It's not just the pitching staff going deep as I don't know what. They got like 8 guys that could do this. But this isn't just some team that popped up out of nowhere. They've won divisions going back a decade plus. The only problem with them was that they couldn't get over the hump. Now that they have, you better believe that they're going to lock in. Dave Roberts, as far as I'm concerned, the best manager in baseball, got read up as well. There's no reason to believe this train is going to stop anytime soon because it's not like their opponents, the Yanks that they popped in the World Series, or the Mets, who they beat going the way to the World Series, have gotten a ton better. I understand Soto's there. Trust me, if the Dodgers do everything right, it's a lot harder for them to get beat than it is for them to beat themselves, and I don't think they're going to do it.
Got like a 20-hour workday on your hand if you're going from radio to around the horn to covering that game tonight. Tim, buying the field or are you buying the Dodgers in 2025?
Only more like a 20-hour answer there. Clinton's youthful enthusiasm is great, and I remember when I used to have it, but it also helps to know baseball history. Yes, the Dodgers are the best team, and that's nice to be. Yes, they have a great financial advantage. Did you notice that Tokyo series was sponsored by Guggenheim? Do you know who Guggenheim owns? The Dodgers. But there's 29 other teams, and nobody in the last 2 decades has repeated. This is a hard sport to do that in. The playoffs are a crapshoot. They lost 2 years ago to Arizona. They were behind San Diego 2-1 last year. I think Arizona in their own division is their toughest competitor in the National League.
All right, David, can I sell you on the field here, or are you going to take the Dodgers?
I'm taking the Dodgers. There's a reason why I'm Clinton and Friends' #1 official best friend. It's because I agree with one Clinton Yates, and that's a lot of the reason because the Dodgers go from winning the World Series to an offseason or a dynasty for the foreseeable future.
All right, Marcel Louis-Jacques, round us out here. Dodgers or the field?
Wow, Clinton putting in a Courtney Cronin NFL season-esque workday. I'm pretty impressed. I'm inspired. I might go down the road to Lone Depot Park and go cover Marlins opening day, man. I'm trying to get like you, my brother. But I'm going to take Tim Kalishaw's angle here. That's a lot of baseball to be played. That's a lot of time for guys to get injured. They do have a deep roster. Injuries happen in baseball, and this is just 1 out of 30. The odds aren't stacked. The odds are stacked against them. If I'm going to go for any team, though, it'll be the one that almost got by the last year, which is the New York Mets. I'm still a little concerned about that rotation. Juan Soto is obviously unbelievable. They've got to make some kind of midseason trade to improve that starting 5 before I really believe that they can take the Dodgers down. But if they do, give me the Mets.
Okay, so now the rest of the league. Clinton, give me your boldest prediction for 2025, and you got to make it bold.
Well, I see you've been working on the paper toss on your throw, and Ohtani's working on getting back on the mound. I honestly don't think he's going to make it to the mound in the regular season because the Dodgers are going to play it safe. But when they get to October, you're going to see some surprise Ohtani starts, and that is going to be a blast.
Okay, Mr. Texas Rangers, can I sell you on Jacob deGrom winning the Cy Young, or are you going somewhere else?
That's going to be a little bit of a long shot. The team without a town, though, the Athletics, no city, no state, they're going to the playoffs in Sacramento this year.
I said bold. Tim, you are delivering that. David Dennis Jr., boldest prediction for the 2025 MLB season.
You know, I was going to just say Boston Red Sox AL East champions. We're going further than that. We're going Dodgers, Red Sox, World Series, baby. We're going Super Bowl.
Marcel Louis-Jacques, give me something that fiery.
It'll be the easiest travel of the World Series of all time. I've got the Subway Series coming back. Mets versus Yankees. We got Soto bombs. We got Judge bombs. Alcantara's going to be playing in New York. I don't know which team, but it's going to be a fun series.
All right, well, I've got a bold prediction for you guys. It's over for David Dennis Jr. and Marcel Louis-Jacques. Moving on to the showdown. Clinton Yates, Tim Kalishaw's.
Friend.
This is going to be fun. Coming up next.
Know this man.
Tim, good luck in showdown. Dan Hurley apologized for the comments captured in the tunnel after UConn's heartbreaking loss to Florida last weekend.
They're mistakes. They're things I wish I didn't do. It's part of what you get with me. I hope to not do it again.
So Hurley admitting to some mistakes, but insists UConn knew what they were getting with his fiery coaching style. Clinton, how do you hear that apology?
It's unbecoming. I've talked earlier on this program about coaches who make it all about themselves, and he's out here threatening journalists in the daggone hallway after games. None of this is acceptable, nor should it be either way. I don't care if it's part of the package. I don't need that package.
I think it's a little overstated. If he said things like that after the game in the press conference, if he's complaining about the refs, which he wasn't, that's one thing. He's mad walking off the court. He's a great coach. It is part of what you're part of the package. We know he's like this, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, Zebra certainly doesn't change its stripes, and Dan Hurley has shown us who he is. Just a correction here, it was the SID that threatened that journalist, but we split the point, and we move on. All right, check out these highlights. Stars goaltender Jake Ottinger stopped 41 shots, including this one in Dallas's 4-3 win over Edmonton on Wednesday. How the heck did he get that one? And then you've got Nikola Jokic posting a triple-double in his return from an ankle injury with this no-look pass over the shoulder. Tim, which of these two plays is more impressive?
I can't ignore the Otter on this one. For him to swim over there like that and get it with the glove off the stick. Perfect save, timely save for the Stars.
I live in Venice Beach. White Man Can't Jump is my favorite basketball movie. I dressed up as Sidney Dean on this program. Jokic going full Billy Hoyle, Woody Harrison on that pass is the coolest thing I've seen in a really long time from this Nuggets.
This showdown was tied 13-13 coming in. Clinton Yates, you break the tie, take the FaceTime.
Major League Baseball's opening day is today, and for whatever reason, we've gotten away from one of the best traditions we had. Cincinnati, Ohio used to host the first game of the day, the early game, because back in the day, they were the southernmost team in the National League, and so they got the first game. What are we doing? How did we get away from this? We should go back to that at the riverfront. It's a great baseball town. I went to college right near there. They deserve better. And by the way, Hunter Green becomes the 40th brother to ever pitch an opening day as a black man. Get it back to the Red Stadium, y'all. Shout out to them.
All right, Clinton.
Happy baseball day.
An ode to you. We're on 23.5-hour break. We will see you tomorrow.
Same thing with the Browns. If you are not sold on the quarterback that's there for you at number 3, you don't want to have to feel forced to take him. The Giants are just coming off of the Daniel Jones experience of taking a guy 6th overall, didn't turn out to be what they thought he would be. So they don't want to repeat that mistake. So you sign Wilson, you sign Winston, and then you don't feel like you have to force quarterback. The Giants have, I feel like, a broken record. They have the 2nd pick of the 2nd round. They could trade back into the end of the 1st and address quarterback later in the draft. And I believe that they will look to address quarterback at some point in this draft. They have to get their long-term future secured. But to get Travis Hunter at number 3 and then take one of the other quarterbacks that you like maybe almost as much as Shedeur Sanders might be the better plan for New York. And signing Russell Wilson, who they know can start this year, enables them to do that if they want.
See, this is the thing I found interesting. The Giants have never drafted a quarterback with a top 3 pick. As a New Yorker, I don't even know how to feel about that because,
Eli Manning, I know they didn't technically draft him, but he was the first.
It's just,
it's
find a franchise
technicality.
quarterback. That's it. That's a little asterisk right there. All right, Dan Graziano with the latest. Thanks so much. Ahead here on SportsCenter, we'll go deeper on why Shedeur Sanders could be available for the Giants at 3. Our draft guru is standing by to explain why the Browns should pass on a QB.
All right, it is opening day, so let's get to some baseball. All of the fields, especially because Joe Buck back on the call here. Yankees hosting the Brewers. This is why baseball's so great. Look at Aaron Judge. Oh, little guy's so excited.
Stop.
Aw,
I love it.
Love it, too. All right, first Yankees batter of the day, Austin Wells. What you got? Okay, well, that will do. Deep right field, it's a leadoff home run. Wells becomes the first catcher in Major League Baseball history with a leadoff home run in the first game of the season. Yankees jump out to a 1-0 lead. Second inning, same score. Base is empty, 2 outs for Anthony Volpe. Okay, let's do another. Deep right field, that's a solo home run. Yankees now take a 2-0 lead. Freddie Peralta, that is, did have a good day, but those 2 home runs not so great. Top of the 4th, Brewers down 2-1. Bases empty and 1 out for Sal Frelick. Slow roller to the right side here. Carlos Rodon going to cover first, but he slips and falls. Yeah. Rodon would stay in the game after a chat at the mound. Watch it one more time. Not something you want to see on opening day. Bottom of the 5th, same score, 2 on, 2 out, and Freddie Peralta sees Judge, is like, okay, I think I got you. Yeah. Swinging through strike 3. Yankees stand at 2. Peralta, 8 strikeouts in 5 innings. Did give up those 2 homers, though. Bottom of the 7th, same score, 2 on, 1 out. Judge here grounds one down the third base line. It hits off the bag, though, and goes into left field. Ben Rice comes around to score. Yankees extend it to 3-1. Right now, it's 4-1 in the top of the 9th.
More baseball action. The Orioles taking on the Blue Jays. Jose Barrios getting the start for the Blue Jays. Top of the first inning, no score. Adley Rutschman at the plate with no outs. Rutschman drills it to right field for the homer. Orioles lead 1-0 early on. Take it to the 3rd inning. Orioles lead 2-0. Tyler O'Neill at the plate with 2 on, 2 out. O'Neill hits one towards right field and gets a 3-run home run. This is O'Neill's 6th straight opening day home run, extending his MLB record streak. Dad in the stands absolutely loves it. He's fired up. Orioles lead 5-0. He's turning red, so that's how you know he's really fired up. He's excited about it. Top of the 4th inning, same score. Cedric Mullins at the plate with no outs.